Hey everybody, it's Kenny K here again with a another movie called They Live. Of course, one of John Carpenter's movies. It's not a horror movie, but like I said, I did Big Trouble in Little China. I did Assault on Precinct 13. I'm not gonna do all of the non-horror movies of John Carpenter, but him being my favorite director, I thought I owe it to him to give you a few of his somewhat fun or good non horror movies. Now, They Live is a supernatural B action movie um, with uh, basically a good cast. Uh, the only guy, and that's the main actor, did, never seen him perform. Maybe in some um, B movie horror, B movie action movies, is Roddy Piper, also known as Rowdy Piper. I guess, yeah. I'm not a big WWE fan, but that was his wrestling name. He's a famous wrestler. Uh, Picture here of his attire. You know, he always wore a kilt. He's called Nada in the movie, so that's easy to remember. Then we've got Keith David, of course, from The Thing, 1980s The Thing, as Childs. Uh, Here he's called Frank, and not but not not but not but least, but you've got Margot Kidder from 1974's Black Christmas, which I really enjoy, and it's one of my top five. So Margot Kidder, she really looks good in this movie. And then you have a few actors that Carpenter, for some reason, always uses for these small parts, like Peter Jason and what was the other man's name? You got George Buck Flower. Yeah. Um, I'm not sure what it is with these two guys, but he likes them. So, but always for a small part. So I'm gonna spoil this movie, but I'll just talk about the non-spoilers and then go ahead with spoilers. So this movie, like I said, from 1988, directed by John Carpenter, gets an astonishing 7.2 on IMDb. Now, I'm giving it a 5. I watched it. Oh, it's the same with Assault on Precinct 13. The only non-horror movie that I really give a bigger score like 6.5, is Trouble in Little China. I love Trouble in Little China, but They Live. I don't know. I don't know. It's the story is in. It's an inventive story. There's a political message behind it. Um, of consumerism in America. Uh, so this guy Nada, he's a traveling vagabond, basically trying to find jobs here and there. But the country has fallen to the capitalists, and the lower and the middle class are real. They are trying to survive, um, and it's hard. It's hard out there. Uh, at some point, Nada finds glasses, but I think he just finds them in a fucking. That's what I remember. He finds them in a store. He puts them on. Everything is in black and white, and he sees some I'm not sure where did he find those glasses in a store. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about the whereabouts where he got those glasses. But in any case, he finds these glasses, and when putting them on, everything is in black and white. You see people. We also see fucking
What's your
aliens
problem?
amongst the people, and the people don't notice. And a billboard that said like buy Coca Cola or buy the new waste disposal system or whatever, uh, or join the military. Now, with the glasses on, say consume, consume, obey. So basically, like I said, the lower classes, the middle classes have to consume to make the rich richer and obey them to like for like making houses, real estate for the minimum wage, and that the rich can get almost the full 100% out of it, right? So that's the political message that the movie tries to give. But I like that idea, because that consumerism, that political idea, has been in the United States for a long time. I know the current administration really, uh, really puts it forward that they don't mind giving the rich tax cuts and shit like that. But all the administrations before that, they thought, you know, America is a capitalistic country. That's the way it is. Either you don't make it or you make it, or you get somewhere in between there. The middle class. Um, Now, what I didn't like is, so the movie starts out. He finds a job, construction job, really minimum wage. He meets Frank, right? He David, and he that's the only line. Yeah, Frank is doing the most of the talking. Like, I've got to survive. I've got a wife and kids. Although it's never mentioned again in throughout the entire movie, but he says, "I got a wife and kids I need to feed, and I'm here to survive. What do you think?" And he says, "Yeah." I mean, his verbal, I mean, his responses are just yeah, no, uh-huh, mm, you're right. So they're really short and to the point, but that's, I think, a directorial decision, because after that he's on his own, and then you got an entire chunk of it of him being alone, finding those glasses, wearing those glasses, and he starts to see all that shit, and nobody believes him. At some point he's in this uh, magazine store, and he says, "You lady, you look like somebody dipped your head in the cheese dip in 1957." Like that.
You know,
But he gives these
you look like
real
the head fellow who
stupid
cheesed it
one
back in
liners.
1957.
At some point, he meets Margot Kidder, but Margot Kidder isn't who she's supposed to be, and he gets basically he gets beaten by, I mean, there are cops chasing him. He flies away from an explosion. He's basically, and there's, like I said, no dialect, no dialect, uh, nothing in between the half of the movie. Then eventually he meets Frank again, and he starts to talk again. But then you have this scene of them, and I shit you not, 20 minutes, maybe even more, but at least 20 minute fight scene, because I think John Carpenter was like, we got a WWE wrestler, and Keith David isn't this. It's a pretty big guy. Let's have some. Let's show some moves. So they start. So he basically wants to um, convince Frank to put the glasses on so he sees what he sees, but he doesn't want to. He doesn't believe him, so he doesn't want to get in this stupid shit. But then they start fighting, and every time some guy is down, he picks him up. It's like, okay, they're done. Boom, chop in the balls.
Boom, you dirty
And
motherfucker.
then whoops, and then Nada, of course, using his wrestling skills, whoops, throwing him, over him. Like I said, Keith David really holds his own. He then you stupid son of a bitch, slugs him, and I mean, it's a fight that goes on for 20 damn minutes, and 5 minutes of that should have been 5 minutes, because it's ridiculous. This movie, this almost one third of the movie is him fighting Frank. Oh, okay. Uh, like I said, I don't understand where Carpenter came from hiring Roddy Piper to be one of the main actors in your movie, and he can't act. That you can see that it's hammy, it's amateurish. He comes over like a com- I mean a comical figure, and then, oh yeah, right, you're a wrestler. Let's you and Frank have a fight for, like, let's say, until I think it's appropriate to stop. 20 minutes. Then eventually he gets the glasses on and they seize everything. Frank's like, oh, whoa. And then one thing leads to another. They find this resistance group. They know about the aliens. Okay? But they say that somewhere there is a headquarters and there's a satellite. If that satellite gets destroyed, the aliens, they're on the news. They're news anchors. They're people just walking on the street, in a bar, having a drink, trying to pick up ladies, things like that. So they decide, but then at some point the the vigilantes get attacked by the police. They know where they're hiding, and they get attacked. And I believe Peter Jason is the leader of this
World needs a wake-up
group,
call.
and eventually he says to the guys, "Here,"
We're gonna phone
he
it
gives
in.
them a gun. Let's start the slate clean. So he means wiping out the aliens, or at least exposing them, right? So people can wipe them out for them, right? Um, and like I said, and at some point in the movie, they meet, like I said, George Buckflower. He's a vagrant, but then for information, and I think he gave the information of the hideout of the vigilantes. He becomes one of their puppets, basically, but rich. They give him money so he can work for them. And at some point, when Frank and Nada go to this headquarters, armed to the teeth, they find him. I'm not sure that they kill him, but they find him,
What's wrong with having it
saying,
good for a
listen, listen,
change? And they're gonna let us have it good if we just
we
help
should,
them. They're gonna
everybody
leave us
should work
alone.
for them.
Let's make some
You
money.
know, they leave us
You
alone,
can
they
have a
just
little
let
piece
us
of that
do
good life too.
our
I know
thing,
you
and they're
want it.
paying
Hell,
us
everybody
money.
does.
Who doesn't want to be rich? But, you know, these, they are, Frank says, I don't want to be controlled by a bunch of aliens and this and that. I'm not sure if they kill him, and I'm not really sure. But they go into the headquarters, start blazing with their M16s and other machine guns, shotguns, and etc. Until they find Margot Kidder, I believe, when they're almost on top of the roof where the satellite is. Margot Kidder kills Frank. Uh, so yeah, fuck. I had to say spoilers, right? Sorry. I am a dumbass that always forgets to say spoiler alert. So yeah, there you got it. Frank gets killed by Margot Kidder. He doesn't see it coming behind the head. Then uh, Nara kills her, but he does get shot. But with his last effort, he puts the explosives on the radar system, and then he's doing, then always being comical and, you know, not saying too much. He just does this. And then the thing falls on him. He's also dead. Basically, everybody's dead. But now everybody can see the aliens. So during a news anchor uh, newscast, they see like, what the fuck? One is an alien, one is not. He's like, what the hell is this? And these aliens don't what? And then there's a girl riding one, having sex with one, and with an alien with a fro. So he probably was a black guy, you know, portraying a black guy. And then she says, ah, ah. She goes off, and it says, "What you doing, woman?" uh, so everybody sees these aliens now, and their jig is up, and so basically they died for the good of the earth, right? That's the movie. But like I said, the good. Listen, the what did I like is uh, the political messaging through this movie, and that can only see it through these sunglasses, and then you also can see the aliens through these sunglasses. And I like their faces. They're like these almost skeleton looking. They're not your typical big head aliens, but they're, the grays or what they call them. No, they're like these skeleton faces with big eyes, and I like that. I like that. The acting is good as far as goes for Keith David and Margot Kidder, but Roddy Piper, I mean, I think maybe this was his first movie. I'm not sure, but he's not an actor. He's really bad. I mean, these WWE wrestlers have to act a little bit. I know a lot of that fighting is fake, and they have an introduction to the ring when they come to the ring, but that's with a lot of flair and things like that. He's wearing the kilt, but don't understand where John Carpenter was coming from to hire him, because after that he never hired them again. So that's probably, you can see that they're, you know, they don't, when it's only him, they don't want to hear too much out of him and just see his reactions, and that's it. and you got that. So the likes are Margot Kidder and Keith David, like uh, that with the glasses on, and you see the political messaging. And then the aliens, I liked how they looked, and that there's an entire organization behind it, even from humans who know about these aliens, but they get rich with from these aliens, so they do they are playing with them on the hush hush, and that's what I liked. Yeah, what I did not like was I wasn't a fan of Roddy Piper. He's he was his acting was bad. He's now was it meant to be? He comes over like an idiot, like a clumsy fool, but I think that was the intention of this guy, a fool that can fight. And then we get that, okay, that wrestling, that fight scene between him and Frank, that could have been, okay, so, you know, Roddy Piper shows some moves, uh, but like I said, every time one gets down, he starts over again. The other one gets down, boom, in the balls. He starts over again. Another one gets down, boom, a tackle of the legs. Constantly getting down, starting again. It's like none of the two wanted to lose. It's okay, and and the first 5 minutes is fun, but then after 20 minutes it gets oh, tedious, boring. I'm not sure. Yeah. So these are the dislikes: the acting of Piper, the 20-minute fight, the comical way or the foolish way he's basically acting. But the rest of the actors were good. I mean, like I said, I liked the hidden message, the consumerism, the political message, the aliens, the way they looked. I like that, and that it's only through sunglasses, and I like that too. But yeah, so the movie has some strong points and bad points, but it's mainly Roddy Piper because, and he's the guy who's carrying this movie. So that's why I'm giving it a five. And we'll probably never re-see this movie. Sorry, John Carpenter, I love you, but that's the way it is. Now, let me know what you think about They Live. Um, and maybe say what you like in this movie, um, and subscribe. It's free, so what's the harm? See you next time for more horror movie fun.